till I die, Spurs die hard. Tottenham till I die. Tottenham till I die. Tottenham till I die. Spurs die hard. Tottenham till I die. Tottenham till I die, Spurs die hard. Tottenham till I die.
Good evening to everybody everywhere. This is Spurs Diehards TTID, and we got the regular folks in the building tonight. We're going to be talking about Tottenham's away trip to Leeds first thing in the morning for you American watchers and listeners. And then also we're going to be talking about some other bits and pieces. We'll talk about the season so far. We'll talk about how we think Thomas Frank is doing. We'll talk about, maybe we'll touch on the Buddha game a little bit and just see what everyone's reaction was. To the right of me, I think, or your left, or my left and your right, I don't know anymore. It's Adrian Schroker. How are you, mate?
I'm fine. Looking forward to getting to it. Looking forward to tomorrow's game as well. But dreading the international break as usual.
Yeah, fair play. I can't believe there's another one. But hopefully, this is this going to be the last one? Oh, is there another one as well?
There's another one much later down the road.
Another one. Yeah, so never ended. And we got the usual suspects up top. We got Alan. How you doing, mate? Mr. Rakdos Madness.
TGIF, I tell you what.
Yeah, I feel that. And Steve Silver once again. How you doing, mate?
Good, man. I was good until 5 minutes before we went on air, before I started hearing Adrian tell his never-ending series of granddad jokes. Everything was good up until then, but at least you saved the day with the fighting cockerel and the intro that I'm glad you brought back, by the way. That was awesome. I know it's an excellent intro.
Yeah, it gets him involved. It gets him fully on board.
By the way, Adrian, those were phenomenal jokes. By the way, Adrian.
Yeah, phenomenal jokes. Big up, we are Spurs TV in the house already, and also Ronnie, big up to you. All right, well, we'll start off. Obviously, we've got the. Let's just go ahead and get straight into it. We've got Leeds tomorrow, Elland Road. Always good to have Leeds back in the Premier League, and until you have to play them. But we've somewhat had their number. I believe the last couple of times we have played them in the Premier League, it didn't do too bad. But they seem to. They've come up. They've started the season really well. Steve, what do you think, Leeds? How do you think we're going to do? How do you think we're going to fare?
That's a very good question. Now, are we basing it off the last four? Bless you, by the way. Are we basing it off the last four appearances of what we saw Tottenham Hotspur, which is getting off to absolutely god-awful starts, and then having to have somebody be the hero just to kind of bring us back from the depths, just to get a result? Or is this going to be an opportunity where we're actually going to take it to Leeds, in front of the Elland Road faithful out there? I mean, that's going to be that's the $1 million question, right? Because from my vantage point, this was supposed to be a strength of Thomas Frank. Starting quickly and gaining momentum before you hit the halftime marker, and then trying to put somebody to the sword midway through the second half, and it's played the exact opposite. And what's even more disconcerting is the fact that this is the portion of the schedule where we should be banking away some of these teams and actually gaining momentum before we actually hit the mid part of the schedule, right? It's essentially been played out to something completely different. And the thing that I'm a little concerned is the fact that Leeds decided, like Sunderland, instead of trying to play crafty football the way that they played in the Championship, they went for strength, they went for power, They're a team that does not necessarily play with a lot of possession. They essentially are, essentially a counterattacking team, and it suited them quite well, right? So the question is whether or not we're going to be in a good position to potentially break down Leeds and potentially get them, get that early goal and get some momentum. So it's going to be an interesting test, I would like to think, and it's hard to say that from a newly promoted team, but Leeds, like their promotion counterpart Sunderland, are actually a little difficult to kind of beat right now.
Yeah, I'm just I was just looking at my head-to-head in the last 12 matches. I don't know, we've put, it looks like, I didn't realise in the Premier League, at least by the looks of it, 2023, 2022, there were 2 games. Looked like we put 4 past them on all occasions. So
that was that was under Bielsa, right? That was Bielsa ball, right?
I think
the
it
last
probably
time
would
Leeds
have
were
been,
up?
yeah. I think it probably would have been. So yeah, I mean, it looks like, I mean, obviously on paper, games are never played on paper, but you'd like to think that we'll just be too strong for a promotion, a team that's just come up, Alan. But that's not not always the case with Tottenham, eh?
Well, yeah. So I'm also worried about our form, regardless of team. I'm concerned about our form. We have the ability, as we know, that we can make teams at the low end of the table look very good. And we did that against Wolves. I'm not saying that Bodø Glimt is low end. They're the top of their table, I believe, or they're second, I think, in their league. But I both teams, we should have been much better against. We should have had a much better showing. And each time we've had to dig deep, which is something that historically we do pretty well. Coming back from behind is not something that Spurs rarely see. We see that a fair amount. Whether or not we win or just tie, different story. But coming back, we can do. But we shouldn't have to. My God, the talent that we have on paper is so much greater than either team could have put forth. And you could have combined Wolves and Bodø Glimt, put their best and best, and we still should have been able to beat them pretty comfortably. So when it comes to Leeds, I'm a little worried, not just because of our previous form, but I'm a little concerned with how we're going to set up, because it's not just the players. I feel like Thomas Frank got it wrong again in the Champions League game with his lineup. And I'm a little concerned that we're going to see more experimentation against a team that we historically only do okay against at a time. Who was it? Dave was telling me that Dave was saying in his on the Irish Hotspur, he was saying that when it comes to Spurs and going on international break, we have a terrible record in that last game. So all of those things coupled together just makes me nervous. And I know Thomas Frank hasn't had a lot of time, so he's had to experiment on the fly. So I can only blame him so much, but I can question his lineup and saying, look, maybe the Champions League isn't the right time to start rotating the squad. Maybe we prioritize the Champions League. And I think the owners would even say the same thing. Maybe prioritize the Champions League and don't rotate your squad so much during the Champions League, because it's new to him, I think, as well. Has Thomas Frank even ever been in the Champions? No. So it's new to him. I think he can act a little bit more like not a novice in the Champions League, though, with his lineups.
Fair enough. Adrian, what are your thoughts?
Well, on that cheerful note, actually, just a little thing on Leeds. I mean, they've picked up some early points, was good. Actually, the 3 promoted teams, this is the best start by 3 promoted teams in the Premier League. And fair play. We've got a bit of a soft spot for Leeds, because a lot of us sort of sit in Jess's channel. She's got a big following, Jess from Leeds, and she's on Ian's show Sunday. So big up Jess and the Leeds crowd if you're listening or watching on some playback later. And I'll see you Sunday, Jess, with Ian and Tom probably, or whatever. Yeah. So, and we'll all have plenty of time to have digested the game by then, because it's an early kickoff. I like a game I like a day's break after a game to sort of like collate my thoughts, because like you can be a bit too emotional when a game's finished, whether you've won or lost, But Leeds, I haven't seen Leeds play for 90 minutes. I don't know. We know they got rid of Somerville, went to West Ham, things like that. But we know that our guy's now playing elsewhere, isn't he? The winger, I forget his name now.
Manor Solomon?
Manor Solomon, yeah, he's gone. But they've started okay. I mean, what they should be focused on really is consolidation. You don't come up and think, oh, we're going to get Europe or finish top 4. You can be confident you'll start. I think they've got a good chance of staying up. Usually the other teams are stronger, but the way Burnley and West Ham have been performing, I mean, I think Leeds have got. I mean, it'll be that round robin of probably about 6 teams down the bottom. I'll throw Fulham in the mix as well, and Brentford in that mix down the bottom with them. I haven't really looked at the table to see who else is down there. Wolves as well.
Wolves.
Because they've sold. So I think Leeds have got a good chance of staying up, and they need to consolidate. Game tomorrow. Will the real Tottenham Hotspur turn up tomorrow? This is the thing. I mean, with us, we've had a stuttering start, but we're settling nicely, haven't we, in the league? I mean, other fans will look at us and think, oh, Spurs are doing well. We're looking at us and we're thinking, like, where's the football? You know what I mean? When are we going to start playing well? We can't keep relying on stickability and like to get us through, because sooner or later the wheels are going to fall off if that happens and we drop down the table. So what I'm hoping for is like growth and improvement as we progress, as each game goes. We see a bit more growth and improvement, if not necessarily the team playing fantastically well, just signs of individual players and their performances improving overall. That's what I'm looking for. So tomorrow, I expect us to get at least a draw. I'm only mentioning a draw because, like, one, I like the Leeds crowd, and I'm being, and I'm sucking up to them, and the other is I think, well, we should go to Leeds and get a draw. We've got the quality to do that. We've got the quality to go there and win, and to win well. But I don't know what Tottenham's going to turn up tomorrow. But I don't think we're going to lose this one. Funny, as you mentioned earlier about us losing so many games before the international break.
Yeah.
That also coincides that every time we've been desperate in need of 3 points and we've gone to Man City, we've won there, right? But then we've lost the following game. We've probably got the hardest place in the league to go and win, and then we win there, and then we lose. This is like Spurs. They do that to you. Anyway, with that, back to you, Drew.
I don't want them to do that to me anymore, Adrian. That's the thing. You know what I mean? And I think Alan brings up a good point. Like somebody was waxing lyrical. I can't remember who it was. Might have even been Sean Butler. Big up, Sean. They're just I mean, multiple channels over the course of the last few days are talking about, starting off slow, not doing too well, but the resilience to come back. And I feel like the same as Alan. Like we've kind of heard this before. We've been there and done it. We do have the capabilities of pulling it back somehow. But I mean, there's always that old argument, isn't it? It's, a team will go 2-3 up, and they kind of subconsciously or not take their foot off the gas a little bit, which then enables the team to come back. So I don't know. I'm not as impressed with coming back as I am frustrated with being behind in the first place.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like
right.
And I completely understand. Like I know I've even said it, so I can hardly be hypocritical and then sit here and say, oh, it's all it's Thomas Frank's fault, this, that, and the other. The dude just doesn't have time, or doesn't have the time that he used to have on the training pitch to get all of his stuff across. Like this is probably, as far as managerial situations go, this is probably the busiest he's been not doing football stuff, as in, the amount of traveling and probably the pre-game presses and all that sort of thing. So, and it's not to say I'm not, it's no criticism that he can't do it. That's not what I'm saying. It's just going to take a little bit of time. And I have to keep reminding myself of that. Like, we've got to be patient. But, I mean, Steve, we'll come back up to you, because the one thing that is very, very apparent at the moment is, I'm going to not contradict everything that I've just said, but the one thing, and I think Alan brought it up as well, was with Thomas Frank, it's usually a very, very quick start. I mean, Brentford were synonymous. I think they even got the record, didn't it, for the two or three goals in consecutive games within the first minute or so. And I understand it's not going to happen overnight. I understand that with this front line as well, especially, it's it's not an Mbumo and a Wissa and whoever. So are you confident that it's just going to come good by just for the course of time and coaching, or do you think that it's going to need more than just that? I.e., do you think we just need a couple of better players up top and maybe something else in the middle just to, or I say add more players, or do we just need to have patience with the players we've got?
I'm expecting it to come to be a little bit better once we get Solanke and Randall Kolomwani available, and then eventually a guy like Kulusevski back. Guys that actually, and I'm not just saying that because obviously of my romance with the Swedish forward, but that being said, it's real, by the way. So this is the thing that really pissed me off, because these guys have been there and done it at Bodo Glimt, for example, right? You don't have to tell Brendan Johnson about the atmosphere there in Norway, because he was there literally just earlier this year. Same thing with Richarlison and some of these other players. They were on the Europa League squad last year, playing in that environment. And quite honestly, not only it wasn't necessarily a bad start, it was just the shambolic performance of that first half, where they couldn't even complete a pass. They couldn't even get out of their own end. As a matter of fact, they were pinned down by Bodo Glimt. And this is no disrespect to Bodo Glimt, because I'm sure they're the kings of Norway. Fantastic. Congratulations, right? It's like being pinned down by New York Red Bull or something like that, right? There is absolutely no reason for these things to happen if you feel like you have the talent to avoid those type of starts. And it wasn't just Bodo Glimt. It happened against Wolves. It happened against Bournemouth. I mean, we've seen this. We've seen these starts.
We weren't great against Brighton either, were we, Steve?
That's exactly right. I mean, but the point is, it's like if the talent should suggest otherwise, the performance should suggest otherwise. And that's the thing. It's like, yes, I personally believe that it's eventually going to come better, because at least with Solanke, we have a guy who can hold the ball up in the middle of the park and distribute it off the half turn, right? Where Richarlison, you get absolutely nothing from Richarlison. And I would probably assume that Randall Kolomwani is probably going to provide something. You at least hope that's going to be something similar off the left-hand side that Mohamed Kudus provides off the right-hand side, and allows Xavi to drop back to his natural position. And from that standpoint, we're probably going to get a little bit better play from the attacking third. But that being said, it's like I look at the players that are already there, and it's like and to a sense, you're right, because Thomas Frank can only do so much, especially with the schedule that he has. But at the same time, the expectation has been set. Like, you don't have to tell these players twice what they're expected to do. Yeah. And yet we still continue to have these starts. And it went from bad to worse in the Champions League. I can't remember, even last year, with some of those gnarly results that we saw last year. I don't think I've ever seen a worse half of football from Spurs in the last 5 years than we saw midweek against Bodo Glimt. And we can talk Exodus all you want, but really this falls on the shoulders of the players that actually performed that terribly.
Yeah, no, fair play. It was it was shocking. And I guess here's another thing as well, because there were obviously some
Bodo Glimt.
I know. And there's some Thomas Frank fans out there, right? There are some, and I say this all in jest, but there's people out there that will blowing smoke up his ass before he'd even officially joined, that he was this, he was that, he's a tactical genius. We're not going to have the turgid, horrible, awful football that we saw or was served up last year. And again, like as I say, I have to say it's half tongue in cheek, but I'm even chastising myself as I say it. Like, and 9 games in, 8 or 9 games in.
And then Brendan Johnson's like, "Here, hold my beer."
right. So
it's funny that you mentioned that too, Drew.
Go on.
I've never thought about it. We give players time. We're always saying that, right? Oh, well, just give them time. But the managers, we rarely do they get time from fans before they get the stick. You know, I
And
really
arguably, they got more to do, right? Because if
Yeah.
you got a player, you got to give a player time. But if the player's a left winger, then you've just got to give him time to play left wing in that team. If you're a new manager, you've got to try and convince 22 players that you're the one, that you're, you know, that what you say works, that your coaching style is the one that's going to progress them. Do you know what I mean? So it's so much harder, so much harder.
Yeah.
And like I say, like I give myself crap in the back of my head while I'm saying these things, but I feel like, you know, you've got to sort of bring these up and you've got to have these sorts of discussions. I mean, as I say, I'm not anti-Frank. I'm more fully on the Frank train than I am off the Frank train by any stretch of the imagination. Yeah, but it's just like, I mean, how long do you think what's your hope? And how long realistically do you think? Like, do you think game by game we're just holding on to the hopes that it's going to be a half decent season, but we might just be walking into mediocrity?
I think we'll have a good season. Yep. I think we'll finish 5th to 7th and possibly win a domestic trophy, even though we got a tough away game in Newcastle. It's a one-off game. Anything can happen in a one-off game. Right. But I'll just post the TFDL on the Thomas Frank Defence League here, so be careful.
Well, in Newcastle, they just we saw with the I don't know what the area, what you guys call them, you know, the jerks down the lane. They showed us how to beat Newcastle. You know, they won at St. James just the other day.
Oh, that lot up the road.
Yeah,
the lot up the road.
On the Thomas Frank thing, I mean, he is a good coach manager, and his record at Brentford wasn't brilliant. But then you can bring the stats up of his games, the ones he's won, lost, blah blah. But he's with Brentford, not the biggest squad, not the best resources. He got them promoted and he kept them in the Premier League. Which you know, there are other teams that want to stay in the Premier League, like Fulham, you know, like Wolves, like others. And he's done well. Yeah, true. We are Spurs TV. I'm not knocking that.
Very true.
Championship. The reason he's come to Spurs, one probably because he knew Johan Langer and they worked together as coaches in Brimby, not Bromby, early years, and two because he's shown what he could do with limited resources at Brentford and the players that were brought in. Because he'd have had to okay the players that were brought in, whether it was with Wissa, Buemo, he'd have had to give his agreement for those players. Otherwise, he would have left earlier. So I think he deserves this season, personally. I think he deserves... Well, he's going to get the whole season. Well,
right. Bloody hell. You were about to push him off the train.
I mean, unless it goes completely off the rails.
Yeah, I mean, once he survived pre-season, I thought, man, we might keep him for a while. You know what I mean?
Right,
so,
Well, this is slightly just because of the game tonight. This is slightly different, just in terms of we sit 5th now instead of 4th. But that's just because of games played and points. Because obviously Bournemouth getting their win. No, it's just because of Bournemouth getting the win just as we came on. But I mean, we'd have everybody. Do you know what I mean? Let's be fair. Everyone have bitten your hand off for this sort of start, regardless of. Well, then you'd have bitten your hand off for this. But then let's take a step back a little bit and say those two, you know, the 2 draws and the losses there, that is against Bournemouth, that is against Brighton. Forgive me, I've forgotten who the other one is. Who's the other
Wolves?
One? No, so lost to, I guess lost to Wolves. No, lost to Brighton, drew to Wolves, and lost to Bournemouth, drew to Wolves, drew to Brighton. So if you take the fact that that's 5. It's 5 points dropped against teams that you would expect Tottenham on any day of the week, regardless of who the coach was, regardless of what season it was, you would expect Tottenham to beat Bournemouth, Brighton, Wolves.
And the away wins were good, Drew. To win at Man City, I know with their bogey side, and to win at West Ham convincingly as well.
Right.
Where was the other one? Home win against Burnley, wasn't it? Yeah.
Burnley.
So the record's pretty good. I know the footballs look crap because I've been in sat through and watched it. So it's worth for me. I'm paying 70 odd quid a game to sit there and watch that. Whereas
Touche.
other fans can complain and moan from behind the TV, but it hasn't cost them as much, right? Nowhere near as much as it cost me. So it's always worse when you're at the game and you lose or you play poorly.
Sure.
Well, bottom 8 in the Premier League. Wolves sit at the bottom. West Ham, Burnley are the bottom 3, and then Forest. Sorry, Ange, and then Villa. They've only got 6 points.
Villa
Newcastle, who have only got 6 points. United, who have only got 7 points.
They'll climb anyway.
And then Brentford. So, I think we'd much
Brentford
rather
bracket down the bottom.
Right. But I mean, you much rather be in the top 5 than the bottom 6 or 7, wouldn't you, lads? So
I mean, and you've got to take in consideration we have a big squad. Like the big teams bigger than us have got better squads, have a big squad, and that gets telling from Christmas onwards. Yeah. That's when the teams that might get that early boost have got to, like Leeds tonight, have got to try and hang on to their position, or the shirt tails of other teams, because like we know that Man United, we might gloat at them, we might gloat at West Ham, although West Ham they are going to struggle, but Newcastle and Villa and that, they're not staying down. They're hardly with the squads they've got. So even though they might have got rid of a couple of players here and there, Zach might have gone, and Morgan and Villa might have lost a player or two, but they're not staying down there. It's just because they've just got the squads to get over the bumps.
Fair play. Yeah, it's just one of those things, though, isn't it, Adrian? Like you can, they always say you can't win the league in the first few weeks, but you sure can lose it. And it's one of those things. Like it seems it's a lot easier for a team that's on a roll to suddenly start dropping like a stone than it is for a team that have started bad to all of a sudden gain some momentum. Like it always just seems like once you're down there, it's a real, especially if they start, you start getting a gap between that, especially the top half of the table, even 10 and up. But no, you're right, Adrian. I mean, the squads on paper is just too much.
The only thing that can go against that, and it has happened in the past when Forest got relegated and all that, if you go through a period and somehow the confidence drops throughout the squad, it doesn't matter how good your squad is. You're in jeopardy now. Then you are in a threat of going down. So you wouldn't think Man United can. I've seen Man United relegated. I've seen Chelsea relegated. I've seen teams like this relegated. But it's sort of today with the money in the game and the size of squads, it shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen to the welfare.
Well, there's already rumours today, isn't there, that Amorim's out. Glasner hasn't signed his contract because he's waiting for Amorim to get out because he wants to go to United. I mean, the merry-go-round continues.
Yeah, there's 4 or 5 seconds before Christmas, and the only two managers other teams would take would be Areola or Glasner. They're the only two you would take, wouldn't they?
Right.
Why would Glasner torpedo his own career by going to Man United?
That's what I wonder.
He's got such a great thing going with Palace.
Well, yeah, but if you are to be honest, Steve, right? Look at it from Glasner's point of view. Yeah, as good as you. I mean, to be fair, I feel like you've kind of written your check for the next few years with what you've done at Palace anyway. But what you do at Palace for the next 2 or 3 years, if you could go to Manchester United and resurrect that giant, I mean, I'm sure. I just think anything that you do at Palace pales into insignificance.
Yeah, but
do you know what I mean?
The style in which he plays football, it's going to be the same problem that Amorim had when he first come in. He plays a specific style of football, and the sum of the parts don't fit the tactical vision, so to speak, right? So he's actually starting from well behind where he's at Palace.
Well, and similarly to us, Manchester United suffer from a problem, not just at the player and manager level, but up at the ownership level. They have their own crazy. I mean, if anything, I think theirs is more advanced than Spurs. Let David
Moyes resurrect United. Leave Palace alone.
Yeah.
I reckon his first signing will be Fellaini again.
as the flag bearer for the Thomas Frank Defence League here, right in this corner, right, surrounded by 3 enemies, right?
Yep.
What's your take? I mean, on Bodo Glint, I mean, we can hint a little bit on that, but because like Frank doesn't pick a team to lose a game, does he?
No.
So to you guys, my question would be: I know it's Drew's show, shouldn't be asking questions really, but
how about it?
Yeah, but like
my throat hurts. So
okay, right, but I mean, what about the player's duty? He would have had a game plan for that game. He would have picked the team. It's not us being clever hindsight critics like all Spurs fans are, and we are at times, right? Judge things after the event. But like, he picked that team to go and do a job. But that, I mean, apart from Porro, apart from Porro VDV, I've actually thought Odegaard wasn't too bad before he come off, right?
Well, you do have to really shake your head sometimes, don't you? Because
and
you look at some of those players. Yeah, some of them touches, you think I could do that.
Yeah,
yes.
But
yes,
there's no excuse for that midfield. That is the worst. I didn't see Sarr during that game. He's been brilliant.
He was on.
What's gone on there? I didn't even see him. I mean, players. You alluded to it, Al, about the manager always taking the blame, right, and the rap.
Yep.
But the players must take. Don't get me wrong; they got the result because we have got stickability about us, but we can't rely on that all the time, right? Otherwise, we're going to come unstuck. But then players that were put out in that field to do a job, they didn't do the job they were put on there to do. Subs looked better. He got his substitutions right when they came on. They turned the game. Gray, Kudus, and that turned the game, right? So tactically, he got that right, in my opinion. And the timing of them, I looked through the subs. I thought, it was a horrendous first half performance. And we only
who are your biggest culprits, Adrian? Who for you was was it all of the midfield, the whole midfield, or was there anyone?
I blame the midfield, like I would last season when our midfield was pants. And the reason I blame the midfield is because it's okay to even slag off Richarlison, who I don't want at the club, right? And to say, Odegaard or to say Johnson. But if your midfield don't function, what do you expect the forwards to do unless you're playing long ball football? What do you expect them to do? They're not going to be in the game. And every time we did try and get the ball out to the wings, whether it's Odegaard or whatever, because we were so slow, he had two men on him every time. But I still think he did okay. I've seen slight improvements in him each time, but he's not ready. He's not developed. He's not ready. I mean, he'd probably need this season to get up to speed. I think he's got the talent to do it. But then Richarlison, he gets a lucky goal at the end. I'll take any lucky goal we can get any time. Why football is though. But I like Gray. You've now seen fans, if you haven't watched him as much as I did when he played for Leeds, when he is actually intelligent awareness in his positional play, when he charges down the right-hand side. He did it against Wolves and all that, trying to put crosses in. He is a much better player than some Spurs fans who haven't seen him. And I've seen he's good in the air, he's quick, got a good pass, he can tackle. He's an all-round complete midfielder. Doesn't look sexy like Bergvall, but I'll tell you what, I think the kid's going to be a star. Bergvall will be as well. But again, both of them are not ready. Sarr has been brilliant pre-season all season. All right, he's got an excuse to be off it on one game. But if I had a critique of Frank, it would be change things at half-time, not on the hour mark. That would be my critique. I'd say, look, I think, but then you might be doing it because you don't want to affect players' confidence and all that, right? You can up players on the hour mark saying, look, I'm saving you for the weekend or something. Give them the old psychology, can't you? You can do that. But, we were piss poor, though. We should have been 4 goals down at half-time. They missed a penalty. And even right at the end when that player swiveled in the box and it crawled past the far post.
Vicario would never have saved it. Had it been on target, regardless of where it was,
his distribution was crap. He's too slow. He should be told, look, if you can't make that decision within 2 or 3 seconds, Pat Jennings and people like that knew he had the vision, right? When you've got a ball and you're going to distribute the ball straight away, and then when he does get rid of the ball, he gives it to a player in a difficult position who's been closed down.
Yeah.
I mean, this is... Then hoof it, lose it upfield rather than lose it in our third. Lose the ball upfield instead and start again. We might win the knock-on. Not likely when you're fit because you're usually outnumbered. Your striker's outnumbered by usually about 3 defenders.
Mm-hmm.
But hoof it anyway. At least it's out the danger area. Get rid of it. But
why do we continue to play out of the back? That's Ange ball. Why are we doing that?
Well, because we are sitting deep, aren't we? If you notice all the game, we're at the stadium. I don't know what you guys see on telly, but for the home games, I see the back 4, good back 4. Vicario, decent goalkeeper, right? He's got kick on again. Show him. I mean, we know he's a good shot.
Do you not have any? You don't have any issues because Vicario's come under quite some flack last week or two.
Yeah,
you don't have any issues. You don't have any issues with him.
No, my issue with him is his distribution. I think Kingsley's better at distribution, but he's letting a soft goal at Villa. When Austin come and he let one flip for his hands. Well, bring Gunter into the team then. I like Gunter, but yeah, it's like no, I've got an issue with him on that. It's distribution. I've got an issue with it.
Oh yeah.
So that's it. But when you watch us play, I don't blame Frank for doing this. He's come with his back four. He's come with the 2 sitting midfield pivots, right? And when I find that you've got the back four. This is at a stadium. You've got the midfield pivot, and then there's a big gap between the midfield and the forward line. There's a big gap. By the time that midfield get forward, unless they get the ball to your attacking midfielder, number 10, whatever you want to call him, right? If it was a Maddison, it'd be better. But once you get the ball forward, everyone's closed down and marked too easily.
Mm-hmm.
That midfield pivot, I mean, I get it if you're away at PSG, and even if you play a back five, that makes sense, right? You do it that way. But, go 4-5-1 then, But I just see there isn't the link-up play between the midfield and the forwards. And our forward line looks pants, so we can slag the forwards off as much as we like. If your midfield don't function, most teams, you talk this, most games are won and lost in midfield. If your midfield don't function, you're in for a hard day. You may still win the game, on a set play or something like that, but corner or something, but you're not going to dominate. You're not going to dominate possession. Bodo should have won 4-0, really.
Udogie and Spence were also just god awful. Spence making runs, not doing anything, being lazy. His passing, I've been kind of disappointed in Jed Spence because he got his second call up again, but I don't feel like between the beginning of his attempt to get called up and his first call up, he was really good. But between the first call up and this next call up, there's been a steep fall off. I feel. I don't know if he's getting complacent or what, but I just, I don't think that they linked up very well either. But I don't think Spence and Johnson link up well because Johnson doesn't really link up with anybody, does he? Right? He
but Vicario, part of the problem with his distribution, when he leaves it too late, he has to kick it with no sense of direction. The balls he kicked into touch.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's criminal goalkeeping. You're kicking in a touch. All right, that's not so dangerous. They got to get the throw, go again. But and he brings it on himself. So we've got Fabianotte, who was at Liverpool. He was in Germany. Good coach, good goalkeeping coach. He should be working with him. As should the other promoted academy coach, goalkeeping coach. I can't remember his name. But yeah. So
would you want to see Kinski tomorrow?
No. I think King's got someone on his side. No. You stick with Vicario. You don't affect the team's confidence when you're lying fourth in the league now. You don't do it now. That would be a bad move. If you played them away at Newcastle, fair enough. It's a cup game. But you've also got to have, and I think Frank's pretty good with the psychology. So no, you can't do that. And much as some fans would think, yeah, change him. All right, in January we've got more priorities than we have on a goalkeeping front. But then you got to look around like, well, who's better? Who's out there that's around that's available? You know what I mean?
What do you think about Frank and because I guess it comes under his tactics and management in wanting to sign Bentancur to a long-term contract. And I don't know that was the right move. Again, I having nothing really against him, I just feel like Bentancur's position is a role that we can improve upon. And Bentancur is a player that I know has a good sell-on value. There are teams that want him. There are teams that were trying to come for him this last window.
Bentancur. You remember the Chelsea away game when he scored? Prior to his ACL injury, he would drive us up the pitch. That's the Bentancur I liked, right? He stopped doing that, right? Notice Frank said today, I want to see more from Bentancur. So there is more from Bentancur. But I think Bentancur as well, knowing the situation where we've been defensively with a midfield pivot or a single player plan there, I don't think this blends this hasn't settled down. I don't think the understanding's quite there to give a player a confidence to go forward or to stay or whatever. I mean, Polina's got forward, knows what to do, and he's banged a couple of goals in.
Yeah.
And that one he got against Wolves was a banger, right? So that's all good. I just think if the coach has said it and Bentancur's got it in his ear now, thinks, okay, it's for me to go forward, fine, or drag the team forward and give them more, then Paulina's going to have to sit. Or wherever he plays there to sit, whether it is, Sarr, who's playing for forward, or whether it is Gray. I think Gray could do the job. But I just think,
right.
Yeah, but I also think we get carried away with numbers like 6s and 8s and 10s, to be honest with you. In the old days, you'd be like, oh, he's a good midfielder. He can defend, he can control the midfield, and he can get forward and pop up with the odd goal. That's what I would expect of any of my midfielders, to be honest with you.
I just think Bentancur's been playing
instead of trying
to the ball back a lot lately. I don't know what it is. It seems like every time he gets the ball, he wants to bring it backwards.
I think that's also
there's an immediate not only backwards, but it's also an immediate want to play the ball wide instead of playing direct. Yeah. I don't know if you noticed that in Bodo. It's like every single time he made the touch, it was immediate off to the left hand side instead of forward. It looked like there were multiple times where it looked like he probably could have been a little bit more direct, because it looked like there was guys trying to make runs. And then they would stop their runs because the ball gets played wide. I mean, like literally immediately.
But Simmons and Bergvall are direct, right? And when you see it with our wingers, Kudus, I want to see him more trying to win corners, but because he tends to be cutting back. I know he gets 2 players on him. I know the same happens to Odegaard and all that. But when you get the wingers come back, good players will try and then beat these 2 defenders on the half term and cut inside. Bergvall does that. Simmons does that. When we get our other wingers, they pass it back, like you said, they pass it back because it's the easiest option. When you're in the final third, Potts used to say, take risks in the final third.
Mm-hmm.
But this comes to like when teams are playing well. I mean, Simmons is going to be an absolute star for us. I'm absolutely convinced of that. But he's got to earn the right to play in the 10. Because I remember when Modric's first come and other good players, what British coaches do, they tend to push the skillful player, might consider a bit lightweight or a bit of a risk out on the left, right? Then when they earn the coach's trust, they get moved into the midfield position, and everyone wants to play there because you see more of the ball. That's what they do. They do, right? So Simmons, to me, he will make that number 10 his position. He'll share it with Maddison and possibly Kulu, but I see him more as a right winger underrange, hard-working right winger. As him and Kudus competing for that, that's not a bad option to have on the right. So
I mean, it's a strong right wing, but we still need to sort out the left-hand side of the pitch. Steve, we've not heard from you. You often took a phone call, and then we were talking about the disjointed nature of the midfield. What do you think? What are you just moving on to sort of bringing it back to tomorrow, and also touching on Xavi Simons, because he's going to take a little while for him to get involved. But what do you see as being the best midfield 3 for tomorrow, given how lackluster the midfield 3 was against Buda? You expect wholesale changes? You expect Palhinha to start?
I do. This is going to sound somewhat a little controversial, because as much as I do like Lucas Bergvall, and I really do like Lucas Bergvall, I'd also like to see Archie Gray get a nod tomorrow, playing next to Palhinha as well too. Here's the weird thing, that every single time it's not really weird, but every single time I see Archie Gray step on the pitch, man, I'm looking at his eyes. Because I'm just curious to see where his focus is, and it always has his eyes. He always has his eyes forward. His IQ is off the charts, and he's always, at least for the time that he's got in, he's always trying to do something. He's always trying to progress the ball forward, and he always plays with that young, reckless abandon that I always love. The thing about young players that don't know any better, they sometimes play with a little bit of a reckless abandonment. It's kind of the way. It's the reason why I love Bergvall as well too, because he doesn't know how to play the game wrong yet. Especially at this level. And he's always trying to progress the ball forward. And it's just something that, you guys were talking about a lack of a link-up play. It's funny because, Archie Gray that's kind of been his role when he's gotten on the pitch. And I think this might be an opportunity to let him play. I guess you can say is that that deep line playmaker, almost that box to box role, playing next to João Palhinha, at least somebody that's going to be able to stay at home when you need him to stay at home. But also both of those guys progress forward a little bit higher up the pitch than say like a Betancourt. And as much as I would love to see Xavi play the 10, because I think that's obviously his natural position. I think the fact that we just don't have a left winger that Thomas Frank actually trusts, I would probably assume that Xavi's going to be playing out left tomorrow. And that would probably you probably might see either a Papsar playing in that, I guess you can say that attacking position, or Lucas Bergvall again in that attacking position. But I think this might be an opportunity to work Archie Gray into the starting 11 tomorrow against his old team.
I think he was thinking. I don't think Frank. You get that cliche managers are one game at a time. I think Frank's a bit more through than that. I think he was thinking 2 games ahead, and with the international break, he can go as strong as he likes, can't he? So, and I think Paulinho definitely starts. The back four with Vicario and goal, whether you pick Spence or Porro or you Dougie, 2 of those 3, and you've got VDV and Romero. That's itself, right? Definitely Paulinho starts tomorrow. I think he's handled Paulinho well. He hasn't played him all 90 minutes in all the games he's come on, because he's probably got to just get up that little bit extra fitness you need for the Premier League rather than Bundesliga.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and he's sat on the bench in a lot of the Bundesliga.
So, I mean, he could play the first half quite cagey and go Paulinho, Bentancur. And I agree. I think Simmons plays out on the left until he showed glimpses against Brighton, didn't he? He can destroy teams. When he comes in around that penalty area, he is such a threat. Simmons is such a threat. But when he was a threat, he was cutting in from the left, wasn't he? He was cutting in. So
it's like Madison.
I would rest Odegaard tomorrow, and I'd have him on the bench because he is our only left winger as such. I'll do what Steve said. I'll play Simmons. So you're playing Simmons and Kudus, right?
Yeah.
And then
Richie in the middle. What choice do you have?
Yeah.
What choice do you have?
Or would you start Scarlett? I mean, at this point, is Scarlett that much worse?
I wouldn't have a problem starting Scarlett or even Brennan Johnson through the middle. Johnson scored 2 goals through the middle.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing.
By the way, can we please stop this Brendan Johnson as a as a target 9 or even as an off 9? No. The dude gets bullied so much by fullbacks as it is, and it's like now you want him to play centrally through the channels. He's going to get absolutely eaten up and demolished by center backs in the Premier League. It's like he's going to be the most. He would probably be the most useless 9. And that's saying something because Richie's kind of proven that to be a pretty useless 9.
Well, we didn't really play with a 9 when we had Archibald and Crooks. I mean, you can play a more continental style with more of an inside forward in that position, right? It's just as a striker rather than someone who plays with their back to goal. So you could do that.
But we don't. But we don't play direct anyways.
Scarlett could do that.
We don't play direct, right? We try to play off the wings and we try to play balls in, right? So it's like you're asking him, you're asking him to be physical at least against one center back, and Brendan Johnson is like the antithesis of anything that's physical.
I wouldn't mind playing Scarlett, and I'll say to Richie, look, we're resting you till July.
Right? Yeah, give you a week off early.
Yeah,
for good behavior. I think with my middle 3, I'd probably put Xavi, Palhinha, and maybe Archie Gray, based on how he played against Wolves.
Yeah. I'd be half tempted to definitely Palhinha, either Archie Gray or Bentancur, and then Xavi in the 10. Because like Phil says here, Simons plays off the left to the left, takes away a lot of his game. We paid 50 odd million for Xavi to play him in his proper position.
Well, right. Like and by the way, like when Solanke and Kolo Muani come back, and especially when Kulusevski come back, when there's just better options on the left, I'm sure we will see Xavi playing in the 10 every single Premier League match out. But as of right now, when your options are Brendan Johnson, Matisse Tell, and Wilson Odegaard, and Odegaard has a role on this team, but he can't play every game. You're gonna have to rotate a little bit on the left hand side, and that's where Xavi unfortunately comes in right now.
I'd like to see Gray play. One, it's back at his old stomping ground, and players usually play well on their own stomping ground, don't they? And also, he does make these runs. I mean, when I watched him play for Leeds a few times, I've seen him when he gets forward more. He's not like a Madison 10 player, but he can play there as an inside forward some player, and he takes up such good positions. When you look at him, even when the game's going around him, he's always available. He always seems to be available and ready to take the ball. I mean, I really like the kid. I mean, I really do. I mean, he's like, but Gray, Saal, Bergvall, they're still developing. I'd rest Bergvall, but look, we can bring them on with half hour to go. If you're not picked, I mean, we seem to be magnetically attracted to like, first 11. We're better than that now. I wouldn't say we got a top class 18, but we've got an 18, and even though it might be top class, it still needs upgrading. But I would like to see Gray play tomorrow on his old hunting ground. I would with Paulina and Bentancur to start off with. If it goes wonky, we've got options now, And I would play Simmons on the left. I don't know. Iceman said, and others have said in the chat, about Simmons wasted on the left. I don't think he's wasted on the left, but as I said earlier, he's got to earn the right to play in the 10 position. Yeah. And we haven't seen it much. And we get into that knee-jerk reaction because we didn't get the result or because we're poor, right? We were poor in games. We're poor in games, so Simmons should be moved into the 10. I don't go with that. It's that there hasn't been enough games played for me to form an opinion like that. I think Simmons is a fantastic player. And he's going to be excellent for us. But at the moment, I'd have him on the left because he's going to cut in. He's not going to diver out there. He likes a sight of goal. He's going to come in, right?
Yeah, fair play. Do you think it works better? I mean, if we are going to play him on the left, do you think that means you have to play Udogie over Spence because Udogie tends to want to overlap, whereas Spence tends to want to cut in?
I would play Udogie. One, he's a tank going forward. He showed signs of getting back. All right, everyone's been a bit crappy lately in some of them games, but he's better defensively. He's not as quick as Spence. Spence is the second fastest player, but you don't want Udogie coming at you. You know what I mean? He's a tank going down there. His decision making in that final third is questionable at times, whether he should get the ball in earlier or cross the ball. As if there's anyone in the box. I mean, there's only Richarlison. Do you really want to cross the ball?
Fair enough. Well, we'll go through the full. We'll just do the full predicted lineup then, because obviously Vicario in goal. You expect Porro to get another start again, everybody?
Yeah. Because look what happens when you take him out. We've now seen what happens when you lose that outlet from the right.
Yeah, the cross for VDV's goal against Bodo Glimt. Yeah, that's where you have Porro in your team.
Yeah,
that's right.
That's what he's excellent at. He's got superb technique. We've all questioned his defensive capabilities at times, but we'll see.
But that being,
and it was
all that being. Yeah, but all that being said, I was fine with Spence playing it right back against Wolves because you have to pick and choose when you're actually going to give Pedro Porro a breather.
Yeah,
didn't even get one last night.
They're all going to get enough game time. Them 2 out of them 3 fullbacks, they're all going to get sufficient game time.
Yeah,
fair play. So Porro and then obviously Romero, VDV.
Yeah.
Frank has already said.
Are we all agreed it should be Udogie, or would you rather see Spence? I'm for Udogie. Anybody other than Udogie?
No, I think Udogie.
No. Yeah, Udogie.
And then my midfield 3 would be. It would actually be this 3: Polina, Bentancur, and Simmons.
My midfield 3 was Polina, Gray, and I'm going to say Papsar.
Okay. And we'll say with you, Steve. Who are you going to do up top then? If that's the case, who's your front 3?
Simons, Richie, and Kudus.
Simons, Richie, Kudus. Alan?
Odebear, Richie, and Kudus.
Okay. Adrian?
Simons, Richie, and Kudus. And my midfield would be Bentancur, Paulina, and Gray. On his home stomping ground.
Restrick, big up, mate. Big up, Restrick. Interesting. Interesting. All right. Well, we've been going almost an hour. I need to get some more water. So, Adrian, do you want to give the channel a little plug? And I'll see
we've got about 70 of you on various platforms viewing us now on Spurs Diehards. We hope you like the content. If you do, give the videos a thumbs up. You'll be able to see what we can't see. In the bottom right-hand corner, there's a YouTube subscribe button to subscribe to the channel. Please hit the subscribe button. It helps the algorithm. There are memberships. We do a monthly membership of $1.99. If you're interested, we only do one membership style. That's it. Comes to it. As shows go out every Friday, Drew hosts at 10 o'clock. Ian Meth will be hosting Sunday's show with Jess from Leeds after the Leeds game. His shows go out 10 o'clock as well. Sometimes they'll go out 9 o'clock if he's broadcasting from abroad and he's an hour forward. Otherwise, it's a bit late. And I'll be doing the Tuesday shows with Tom when he's available. And those shows are usually a Tuesday or a Wednesday. Wednesday if we've got a Champions League on a Tuesday. So and those shows will go at 9 o'clock because it's midweek and people have got work next day. So yeah, that's it. We have got a Facebook group with 14,500 members. That's starting to pick up a few more members now. We've got a Facebook page. It's only got 300 odd members, and it's mainly a news page which I'm involved with. We've got a XCOM group, 3,250 odd in there, and it's also got a community section which they're doing it. XCOM, there's 2 of them, and we've got a Discord channel as well. We've only started about a week old. That's got 21 of us in here now. And the Discord's very useful because you can go in there, you can chat on there, but you can also chat on voice. You can also go on voice on camera now. And why Discord is very handy for us for the direct messaging. So if people want to come on the show, like I was having a good chat with Iceman today in there, and we're going to get him on shows. What show I don't know yet, but we'll get him on. It's a good way to talk to people in there and say, like, do you want to come on the show? Anything particularly you want to talk about? Blah, blah, blah. And that's it. So the Discord's good. I know a lot of gamers use Discord because I'm in about 5 different Discord channels. I know seen Alan up there. He's always playing games on Discord, so he uses it. Steve doesn't. Drew's come on. We get him. He'll get up to speed on it, I'm sure. You know, he works his way around these things, technical things, quite easily. So that's that. So like I said, big up to all of you in the chat channel. Big thank you for your comments and keep your questions coming. We like to engage with you. And a big up to everyone who watches on playback and the 70 of you watching us on various platforms. And with that, back to you, Drew.
Thanks, Adrian. We'll go over some Spurs news and some admin bits and pieces because there was a couple of things. I think we've touched on one of these already. Bentancur signing the new long-term contract. We'll just get people's thoughts on this. Alan, we'll start with you. I know we sort of touched on it a little bit earlier, but you think it's a good thing? You think we could have done better? I mean, we were in a bit of a position where he's down to the last year and could have signed with anyone on a free come January anyway. So we kind of backs against the wall, I think, maybe a tad.
I think we. Sorry, Brennan, cutting you short.
No, you're good.
I think we kind of missed the mark here. Again, Bentancur is a perfect example, I think, of a player that we can improve upon. Which has, again, it is completely separate from saying something like he's not a good player. I'm not saying that. I think he's a very good player. I think it's a sign of a very good player if you improve at your squad, improve the squad overall, and if the club can make a profit on you, and then bring in someone else that will go even has a higher ceiling, that's a good thing. The little bit of churn, it's okay. We just don't do it at Spurs. Not really. We're not known for that. We're not a machine yet. But if we want to get into the top of the table consistently and in the, at the final stages of Champions League, you kind of have to become a bit of a machine. Real Madrid is a machine. They churn and burn. And players who have been rejected, Valverde, Rodrigo, these are players we would definitely have on. They would walk onto our team, no problem. And they're the castaways almost comparatively. So, that's just, I think, the mentality we have to start getting into. And with Bentancur, to me, it says we still don't have that cutting edge yet, because we're signing people that are, I almost liken him kind of to Ben Davies, fairly consistent. You can kind of depend on him. I think with Bentancur, I don't think Bentancur is someone that is dynamic. I think he's good, dependable. We rarely see a bad showing from him. You may see a so-so showing from him, but rarely have I, thinking back, rarely has he had a very poor showing. So he's very Mr. Consistent. I just think we can improve on Mr. Consistent. I think we could have gotten someone slightly younger, and with even if not younger, maybe slightly older, but with a higher ceiling at their level. Like Kevin De Bruyne, for example. I think I would have loved. He's 30 something, but he's killing it at Napoli. Age doesn't necessarily mean it's a problem. I think the experience is more important at this point. Experience and higher ceiling.
You're mute, Drew.
I'm with you. Ben, what do you think, Steve? Happy with it, or you kind of think we could done better?
I think it's two things, and as Alan just said, it's valid exactly what you said, right? Because Spurs do not have a history of turning and burning, right? But for me, in the short term, it's if you don't have a player that is at that same level that's ready to step in and assume that position long term, then it almost speaks for itself that you're going to have to keep him around, at least for the short term, right? Because who's ready to step in and play that role right now that's going to give you the same type of quality week in and week out in the Premier League. When you look at Bergvall and Gray, they're young, and Papsar as well too, right? So you have three kids who could at one day get to that level, but as of right now, you don't. And so from that standpoint, you're trying to keep a core of some of your best players around, at least for the short term. But in the long term, who says that that can't happen, right? Well, who says that next summer they can't move on from Bentancur? What this contract does for me, it says it sets the market value for whatever a future transfer is going to look like, an outgoing transfer look like, right? Because what the new contract says is this is exactly what the market value says this player is worth. We're paying it to him. And then also, if you want to come in for him, there's also going to be a certain price you're going to have to pay to get him, right? So I don't think this is I don't necessarily think this is a sign that they're not going to get rid of him or they refuse to sell on certain players. And I do agree with you. Bentancur seems to be that type of player that you can definitely approve upon. But as of right now, they don't have anybody that can step in to do it. But that being said, I will say that I still think that could happen. But I also think what this extension does is it sets the market for his value and what a future transfer would actually look like.
We don't know. I've got all this news on the new long-term contract. I've yet to see how long the contract is. I know he's 28. I was assuming it would be at least 3 years. Then if it's long-term, maybe the year's option, which I don't have an issue with. I mean, Jordan Henderson's back in the England squad. If you can still do it and do a job, age shouldn't come into it. It's when you drop off the pace. The other thing is it's fans' perception of squad size and how they think the squad should be balanced. Well, you've got 25-man squad. If you take 22 positions, that's 2 in every position. The 23rd position is usually your third goalkeeper. That's 23. That leaves you 2 spare places. Now, so you'd have 6 midfielders in the Spurs squad. I'd rather you have them 2 players that make it 8, because most games are won and lost in midfield. It's a long, hard season. And we know that Decky's versatile. We know that Gray's versatile. We know that VDV can play at left back. So we got versatility in the squad anyway. We know that Simmons can play various positions. So I'm not against having Bentancur sign up a new contract. I was a real big fan before the ACL. As EMF has stated on many shows, when Bentancur seems to play well, the team plays well. He doesn't really have poor games. what he really gives us when things are going bad is composure on the ball. He's very composed on the ball, and Frank wants more out of him, and I do as well because I think there's more there. I think he could kick on and be a lot better. And with 8 midfielders, where you got the 3 kids, you've got Sarr, Bergvall, Gray, that's 3, Paulina and Bentancur's 5, Maddison and Kulu, if he's playing in midfield, would be 7. With Simmons would be 8. But I don't see Kulu being that midfielder if Maddison comes back, if he does come back. So I still think we've got room to go and get what Alan wants, which is a quality, dynamic midfielder, right? But that depends on our transfer priorities, what priorities are needed more. And we all know we need a striker on the left winger. So, I mean, I just don't see it all getting done in January either, you know.
Yeah. Well, speaking of strikers, Moani played trained the last 2 days. Apparently, he's still not in the squad tomorrow.
No.
According
That's
to
the deadest
Frank
of dead legs ever.
It's the deadest leg.
The deadest leg.
Well,
I think we've actually had to send him back for a leg transplant.
Yeah.
He's had to get a new leg.
It's gonna be like Frankenstein's monster leg.
It depends what you believe on this, because I read so many reports about Miami. I was trying to find out what happened, made a couple of phone calls and all that. And he had this dead leg, well, depends what you believe, with a collision with Sarr.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's had a hematoma. So if it's on his thigh, so he's got a blood bruise on his thigh. Now, we've all had blood blisters. So I don't know how this works medically at all, you know. But normally you get a blood blister, you burst it. Well, apparently the medical team burst his hematoma or something. So if it's a blood bruise, he's got blood in there, and they want to get it out. So I'm thinking, is this on the surface of his leg? Is it inside the meat of his muscle or whatever? I mean, I don't know. And then you're thinking, well, because we'll see. But if he's back training, he's got to be fine. It's just a question of getting into his stride.
Yeah.
So I should imagine if he's back training in 2 days, and that was just a dead leg, he should be ready after the international break.
You would hope so. But this, I tell you what, to be honest, when you see things like this is my concern, not concern, but this is, you look at the likes of your Madisons and your Kulus, big up, Steve. I don't expect anything from either of those two this season, just purely on the basis that let's say Kulu, say he's back December. He has got so much match fitness to get up to. You know, you've got to get up to fitness and then you've got to get up to match fitness. And it's so easy for games to pass you by. And I just think it's going to be February. If he comes back in December, it's going to be February, March before you see Kulu looking like anything like a Kulu again. And as far as James Maddison, I think he's done this season. I'm not even sure. I don't even know if you'll see him in a Spurs
I'm
shirt.
more confident about Kulu than you are, because Kulu's back in the gym. I mean, don't forget you've got Dragerson and, you know, Kota Takaya coming yet. We don't even know. I could see Kota being loaned out in January. I think they'll give Dragerson a go.
Yeah,
sure.
I think he'll suit Frank. Sorry, slips into Freud again.
Yeah, you know, if Kulu is in the gym and he's getting stronger, at least that's your hope is, you know, when guys hit the gym, right? You would hope that's, you know, you're at least getting your physical shell back. The next step is getting onto the grass. And, you know, I do tend to agree with you, right, Drew, because we saw Kulu come back last year as Ange was trying to get him back up to match fitness. And that's where the injury happened again, as he was getting his minutes ramped back up. Right. So,
I say it, Steve,
he didn't look anything like he was prior to that injury.
Right. Well, and you think as well, you look at it in an ideal world, and for a footballer as well, you do your pre-season, which gets you up to match, you sort of somewhat looking like match fitness, but then you start playing games and then you start getting your match sharpness. And then 3-4 months into the season, in an ideal world, if you've got a whole team of that, then you're kind of, you know, you're flowing. That's your old Man Cities, your Liverpools. Everybody's just kicking into gear at the right time. So with an injury like this, not only are you having to get yourself fit, then get yourself match fit, you're then playing matches completely rusty against potentially players that have had 4 to 6 months worth of football and are at their peak of match fitness. Like everything that they do is just fluid. So he's coming in and his pre-season is going to be playing 10, 15 minutes against people that are absolutely flying, potentially.
Let me guys ask you this.
It worries me that he's not, play. It's going to be tough to get him back. That's all.
Let me ask this question. I think Adrian might be able to answer this one, because back in the good old days in the 50s, 60s, and 70s,
I knew ageism was going to come into it sooner or later.
No. Like, and even well into the 80s, there was a most teams had a second team, and where guys were coming back from injury, they would get minutes in the second team before actually coming back, right? And I believe our second team is the U21s, right? So I don't know if that's still a thing anymore. But generally speaking, when guys were struggling with fitnesses, there's stories of Bill Nick sending guys down to the second team just to get minutes, because they weren't necessarily up to scratch to play first team minutes, right? So is that, I know this sounds like a funny question, but is that actually an option? Where at least at the very least, Kula's going to be able to get minutes somewhere before stepping back into the first team.
Yeah.
Well, if he's back in the gym, and depending on his exercise regimen he's given, because it was the knee injury he had, then I would have thought that he'll be back towards the end of November. He won't be playing 90 minutes, and I think he'll be getting his 20 minutes goes, then perhaps half hour, and I definitely see him, and we will qualify for the second phase of the European Champions League, because we're not going to finish below 24th. And I can see him being named in the squad in January. And you get certain players that have got that. I mean, he played 40 games last season before he got injured. That's almost superhuman. And then Porro went one better and played 50 games. And Porro don't get injured. We want some of his genetics.
I mean, it's a thing, Andrew. I'm not saying he's never going to come back as a footballer. My concern is you're just not going to, like, this season. I just feel personally like this season's going to be a bit of a wash, and I just don't think
so
you're going to see the Kulu.
I
mean, I hope
so
to be completely wrong. I hope.
Yeah.
How dare you, Drew? How dare you?
How very dare I?
I think Kulu's one of them players that's like Porro, that are sort of that different gravy mold. They come back. He's only 24. You'd think he'd been at the club 10 years, right?
Right.
And I just think, like, he's just superhuman, isn't he? He just doesn't get a knock. And we're all praying like it ain't all building up to a bad one,
Right.
But I just think the way Kulu is, I mean, he's a lump, isn't he? He is a lump of a player, and he's got physical stature, and he's got boundless energy, like Porro has. And what an asset he is in a team when you need to stick it out. And put him in these sticky games we've had recently. We come from looking better, even if we were still shit, but we look a bit better being shitty,
Yeah.
I would. Hey, by the way, I would think that if Kulu comes back, and we have Kolo Muani, and we also have Solanke back in the fold as well too. Xavi moves back down to his 10 because you have Kudus on the right. That means Kulu plays off the left, doesn't he?
Yeah, well, he can
with his being able to cut in on his right foot.
Yeah, he can play there.
You want Kulu cutting in on his right?
Mm-hmm. You don't like his elusive right foot?
No, I do not.
By the way, but it also on the because he's also got a good left foot. He can also play off the left as well too, whipping balls in off his left foot.
Well, he cuts in on the left from the right hand side, but lovely cross he made for Kane to score the header in the 3-2 away.
I'm just saying.
The best version. No,
people talk about his left. People talk about his left, but he's also pretty deadly on his right.
Yeah, the best version of Kulu was on the right up front with Kane and Sonny on the left. But then I could have played up front. I could have played on the right with Kane and Sonny.
If you remember when he came, I knew something about Kulu. I'd watched him and thought, this player's got something about him. Didn't know if he did well in the Premier League. Didn't know nothing about Bentancur when the pair came in January. And then he started on the right. He gets a 15 or 20 minute cameo. And as usual, the fan base, he's too slow, he's crap, blah, blah, blah. He got another 15, 20 minute cameo. Fan base, oh, he's crap, he's too slow, what did we buy him for, blah, blah, blah. Then he got a full 90 minutes away to Man City. Son squared the ball from him, he smashed it in the net.
Yeah, I mean,
Running away at Man City is a bold decision,
Lord Rodney Trotter, and by the way, I'm not going to call you my lord. He brings up something right there. He says Kulu in the 8, playing as a box to box, but drifting high up. So it almost looks like you're playing with 2 high 10s.
He could even play. I think he could even play as a. He could play as a right back as well. He's just got the stature to do it and the physicality.
Why not just put him on the left wing?
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Us playing inverted now, Alan. I think it's the fashion, isn't it? So it's like he had more incursions in a penalty area than any player in the Premier League because he was cutting in from the right on his left foot. Plus, he gets goals. He got in the penalty, and people are complaining about him. It's to narrow the space between you and your striker. If a player 1-2 off and you get a shot off, or play your main striker in. I mean, there's a reason behind it.
I just think that Kudus gets the majority of the minutes, and I don't know that Kulu will be happy relegated to the bench, subbing in for Kudus instead of maybe starting on the left side.
Well,
they would find an area on the pitch where he would get starting minutes. I don't think Kulu's coming off the bench at all.
He might not be, but Kudus can't play every game as much as fans would like Paulina to play every game. Kudus is not playing every game. So who's competition for Kudus on the right?
I guess you're right.
He's the best competition. People wouldn't pick Johnson. Johnson is the option there, but not really in a winger.
I'm kind of with Lord Rodney on this one.
Go on.
And I don't really like calling you Lord either, Rodney. Big up. I'm just kidding. But I do you know what? For the longest time, I've thought, because there was a period where he almost was. He was the guy that was getting the ball deep and taking us all the way up the pitch. He was the engine room. And to be fair, I mean, I give you a lot of sticks, Steve, but I do have a lot of time for Kulu. I think there are some things, unfortunately.
Last year when Spurs were actually halfway decent before they got their injury crisis, in the first 10 games of the season, when they were attacking high with Madison and Kulu, essentially playing 2 high 10s, even though Kulu was actually essentially playing as an 8. You're absolutely right. He was the absolute engine room, 100%.
Yeah. He's very, very difficult to shake off the ball. There are things that he does that are fantastic, but then there are things that he does and it just looks, I don't know. Maybe it is literally an aesthetics thing, and he just makes things look cumbersome sometimes, but I don't know. He's a big lad. He manages to shield the ball very well. He carries it very well. He's got a great first touch. He does have a great left foot. I'm still questioning the right foot. I don't really like him on the left. I don't like him on the right.
And he could play direct too. His through ball, his weighted through ball is money.
And the contradiction to what I said earlier about him playing on the right and cutting in on his left. When he was playing more central, as Drew alluded to, you'd see him drift out to the right. Yeah. You'd see him drift out to the right in games as well. So,
but that was protecting Brendan Johnson.
But when VDV scores, when goodbye Basuma, got sent off for simulation, he held the ball up, got us across the line when we won that game, and that's what he's so useful in away games. If you're playing tough opposite, well, it's always tough playing away, but if you need to sort of like hang in there, he's your man in an away game. He would be. I would pick him against PSG in the Champions League if we're playing away to them. And
also as well, Adrian, not being like the beginning part of this season. Let's be fair. If Kulu's available, you're probably playing Kulu more in the 10 or the 8 than you are playing Bergvall or Sarr, right? Really, realistically, if he's available and raring to go, you're playing him before you're playing those two.
Yeah,
and if the majority of their minutes have been in the 8 and the 10, then logically you would think if Kudus is on the wing, then you would probably play him in the 8 or the 10. In my mind, like he seems more like a central midfielder to me.
It's funny how things turn out, isn't it? Because if Kulu and Madison are fit, we don't get Xavi Simons.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
We spend the money.
Well, unless you're if you're a real football club, then you still go
No,
after
probably
those players.
no, I
still
still
go and do one as well because we got Madison and
no.
Kulu.
I think they still get. I still think they get Shoddy, right? If Kulu was available and he wasn't down, but we still lost Mads, we still get Shoddy.
Yeah,
I still think we go for a
we
forward.
don't know. Yeah, every
Lord Rodney picking out every cloud and all that having silver linings.
Yeah,
Says there's one thing we can take from the horrific seed last season, it could be Kulu in the 8.
Yeah.
Very, very true. Very true. Go on, Adrian.
I was just saying, I'm intrigued while we talk about players. I mean, like a lot of the fan base seem to see that Spence as a left back, and I still see him on the right, but it's another issue. We need to bring another fullback in. We need a left centre back, but we've yet to see Dragerson. We've seen him hit and miss. Did all right in the Euros. Hit and miss with us. Very good in the air, quick, positional play, suspect. We've yet to see the Japanese new boy play, so we don't know whether he can even play at right back, which I think he can. I think I looked at his research. So, but you need to see if you can do it in the Premier League.
Mm-hmm.
So, guys, you think we should bring in a right back or a left back? I think we should bring in a right back. I still want Vanderson at Monaco. I'd like him. We're playing him in the Champions League, so we'll see.
I thought Spence was supposed to be more on the right.
Yeah,
we've just been using him on the left because Udogie was injured.
And that's why the fan base sort of, we should play on the left. He should play because he marks Salah out the game, but he's playing as an inverted winger for Liverpool. So it's a bit like Spence and Salah being on the right-hand side of the field. You could look at it that way, right? Yeah. But they're on the left. So, I like Spence. I'm glad we kept him. I mean, do you know, I could have bought him for €8.5 million or something. I mean, like, we swerved one there. He's quality. He's fast, second fastest player at the club after VDV. And we've seen him chase down attackers before. Yeah, as well. This is one. Look, if he ends up on the left, I'm happy. If he ends up on the right, I'm happy. I'm not bothered because I think he's a good player. He's a very good player.
I just think he needs to do better with his distribution because there's such a drop-off when Porro isn't out there. Yeah. And anyone that steps in for him needs to kind of pick up where Porro leaves off. You know, I think. Or someone needs to. If it's not going to be Spence, it needs to be somebody because it's such a drop-off. And when coupled with the fact that we didn't have Romero also is someone that likes to advance the ball way up. And without him and without Porro.
But don't you think that that will happen if Porro's training is specifically designed on the right, where he's actually getting those training reps on the right-hand side? See, that's the biggest thing is he's been focusing on the left-hand side because of Udogie's injury, right? But if every single day, if he comes into Hotspur way and he's playing, he's training as a right back, he's going to develop that chemistry and training with Kudus on that right-hand side. So naturally for me, as far as I'm concerned, my inclination is that if you're training on the right, you're also getting those reps on the right-hand side. That distribution probably will go up.
I couldn't agree more, Steve. I mean, when you look at understandings with Gary Neville and Beckham at Man United, you develop that understanding. This has got to be nailed down in a fullback position because I think the difficulty for the player showing true form is not really knowing where he's wanted to play for him in defence, and that's critical in defence. I just think I think he's a right back, but that's my opinion. Well, Frank, as long as Frank makes the decision and says right, he's left back now, fine, we'll go and get a right back. If you're gonna have him as right back, well, okay, go and get a left back.
Yeah,
we need to know. Right?
Yeah, I kind of wanted a left back through the door because I think Udogie is number one, and I think it might make sense to get another left back through the door that actually plays in the same profile. That actually as Udogie. The guy that I actually really wanted ended up getting snapped up by Brighton. Actually,
I wanted Goldberg, Man United.
The Belgian left back, De Kuyper, Maxime De Kuyper.
All right. As much as I hate talking about transfers this early, I know it's coming up to January. We are linked with Dennis Kirkin again at Southampton, our ex-academy player. That may or may not be. But, look, I mean, this is all trash, isn't it? I mean, we know we
Southampton or Sunderland?
Sunderland.
Yeah.
We know when it comes to priorities, I mean, how many players do you think we're going to get in January? I think we've got twos in before we've got pairs. I think if we've got this money, this 95 million, you could put 3 amounts down. You could get 3, and we're not getting more than 3 in. And
we need a Richarlison replacement.
But the problem is that when you get to January, you've got clubs that are challenging for honours, right, in their respective leagues. They're not going to release players. And you've got clubs in those leagues struggling with relegation. They're not going to release their players.
Yeah.
It's a hard month to get, unless you've got a club who's got 3 players in a specific position and you want the top one, they're willing to part with the money. I mean, I still think the Italian league's a great place to go because all them clubs are skin.
Mm-hmm.
So, but
I'm expecting 2. I'm expecting 2 in January, a left wing. Even if it means you're only getting them on a 6-month loan, somebody that at least has, with an option potentially in the offseason, somebody that at least stabilizes the left side. That allows Thomas Frank to actually set up his team the way that he was meant to, but also a striker as well too. I think Alan hit it right on the head right now, because I mean, as of right now, it's unfortunate, but Richie is just not playing all that well, and we have no idea exactly what Solanke is going to look like, or if Solanke is going to need a few games to kind of get back up his match fitness, and who knows what that's going to look like as well too. So I think the attacking third needs a lot of look in January, but also same thing at the left back or left center back position. If you can get somebody in on loan, i.e. like a Kevin Danso type that we got last year, that potentially adds to that rotation, then I think that sounds about right, about 3.
Yeah, I mean, I'm only keen on the loan if it's the third player we bring in January. Then I get it. I mean, Enoch could borrow this money against their TV rights. So it'd probably be 95 mil. It's 100 mil time we pay the Australian bank off, right? I don't think they're going to get 10 mil out of that. So that's enough money to go and do deals, and that recruitment team should be working from now until January anyway, looking at players and making decisions. And you'd want a minimum of 2 in. If it's the third player's on a loan, and I don't mind 1 loan if we're bringing 3 players in, but we should be looking for loans. We should know what we want.
Mm-hmm.
We should know what we want. We should know what we want before we get to January. And if it's a list of 2 or 3 in one position, 2 or 3 in another, as long as you've got that list, you know what you want. Right, let's move. Are they available? And you should be looking at these other teams, seeing where they are, what positions they're on the league, blah, blah, blah. Is there a chance of getting this player? Blah. You don't want to get, we don't want to get involved in a clusterfuck like we did with Morgan Gibbs White and Eze.
Right. Well, Thomas Frank in recent
interview, a month to do it in, right? A month.
Yeah. Thomas Frank said in an interview recently that they've already planned for the next couple of transfer windows, so they're already got a plan ahead, which is good. But I still think that we should have also concentrate on outgoings just as much as incomings. Like Yves Bissouma, I think needs to go. And never come back. You said
I'd help him back.
Oh, I'd help him back. Yes.
And I'd phone him the Uber as well at the airport.
Yeah. Right. So there, and maybe even Richie. I don't think we can afford to get Richie. January. I meant to say that. As I was saying it, I realized that we have no one to replace him, so you can't just depend on Kolomoani.
Well, unless see, with Solanke, did well first season, 8 league goals, 15 goals.
Solanke, but Solanke's going to be out for such a long time.
No, he's
supposed to be back off the international break, isn't he?
Yeah, he's supposed to be back off the international break, right?
Right, so
but now we have 3 strikers. Right now we have 3: Solanke, Kolomoani, and Richard.
Like Drew said, it takes there's coming back, and then there's being back at your best, in fighting shape. And I don't know when. Just like with Kulu, we don't know when that'll happen. Dominic Solanke, an ankle injury. This has been a nagging one, I think. It kept him out for quite a while. I think it was worse than they may have let on.
No, he's had minor surgery. He's had minor surgery to correct the problem. So it's not serious. So it might be a couple of weeks after the international break.
Well, that sounds pretty serious. He had surgery.
Right? The problem is that we've all seen, even you guys, you've seen so many better strikers at Spurs. than what we've got now, right?
Yeah.
Because Moani's on loan. Right? Did well in Eintracht Frankfurt, got his move to PSG for 77 million or whatever it was, right? Did well. Did all right with Juventus. Did okay. But we don't know if he can hit his straps in the Premier League. And Solanke, although he did well for his first season in a new setup under Ange, I can say it, Drew, right? He did all right. We don't know if he can repeat that. He should be able to improve on that in this season, but he's had this injury now. It's the striking position is a worry. Lanchy's got 3 goals in 7 for Oxford United. I'd rather him come back, and I'd rather Scarlett be given a go as well. I really would. He is an actual finisher. Probably won't have a future at this club, but he's. I'd play Scarlett over Richarlison.
Well,
I think we need a striker bad.
Yeah, that would make things a lot worse if we started Dane Scarlett ahead of Richarlison at this stage. And it's no disrespect to Dane Scarlett, but it's night and day. It's night and day from training to actually trying to compete against center backs in the Premier League for goals, right? And so, Dane, I don't know if Dane Scarlett's ready, but that just lets you know exactly the where we are at the striker position, right? Like, would you guys agree that the ideal striker for this team, and especially the way that Thomas Frank wants to play, has to be able to hold the ball up, has to have that ability? Would you guys agree with that?
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Right. So at least Solanke has at least that in his locker. And we know that from his history, he can finish. Right.
Well, I'll tell you what, though, Steve, here's my concern, right? Does Solanke being able to have his back to goal and being able to receive the ball and play, balls around the corner, when you think that at the moment we don't really have anybody on the left that any of us really rate, because we all think Xavi should be in the middle. Does Kudus, as good as he is, as wonderful a footballer as he is, are we suggesting now that Solanke coming back unlocks Kudus? Because I don't see Kudus being the guy receiving the ball around the corner. And, I'm not trying to be unfair on the guy, and maybe it's just recency bias, but he doesn't strike me as your 15, 20 a goal, 20 goal winger. So
no, I would agree.
He's like off-brand diet Harry Kane.
The Diet Coke of Harry Kane.
Right. So I just don't know. As I say, I love Kudus. I was toying with the idea of getting the name on the shirt because I think he's fantastic. But the more I think about it, the more I think, Solanke would be great. He's going to hold up the ball. He's going to pass it to Kudus, who is immediately going to look to pass it back in. Because I don't see him as the. Unless you get the Ajax version of Kudus back, where maybe he did have more of a sense of getting past and taking the shot. I don't know. It's a tough one.
Depends how you go, doesn't it? If you've got Kudus on the right, Solanke in front, and then Simmons does come in the 10, and then you're left with Odegaard on the left. What's going to happen is Solanke's going to get more chances. He's going to see more of the ball.
But he likes to drop deep.
Before you'd only see ball from a Porro cross or Madison, basically. But you suddenly you're looking at a more potent. Even with Odegaard on the left, I think you're looking at a more potent, because Odegaard will try and lay the ball off. You're looking at a much more potent front four, potent front four, and it's still not perfect, because you still got the left wing situation sorted out. Even if Decky was fit, you'd play him on the right. Then you could play. You could even play
Kudus on the left.
Well, you could play him as the 10. He's played there before, and then you'd be shifting Simmons out on the left again. You'd still have Solanke up front, but a rotating front four would be good. If it worked, if they rotated. But
I'm saying Johnson in the 9. I'm saying you put 10 men behind the ball. You put Xavi in the 10, and you just play counter-attacking football, and you just have Johnson cook between the centre back and the full back. He'll just run that channel all day long. Honestly,
We've seen things that have changed, haven't we? We've seen that we've worked on set
Love you,
pieces,
Drew.
on corners. We've seen that set pieces
Love
on
you so
free
much,
kicks.
bud.
I've seen them work things as well. We've seen different things tried, and so the coaches are doing things differently down at Spurs. But we've started to fifth spot now.
The thing with Solanke, to me, he likes to drop deep. It was really good under Ange because we needed that control in the midfield that he brought. He did so much work in the midfield, but he doesn't do all the work up front. I mean, he scored a fair amount of goals last season, so I don't want to take that away from him. And we always said if only he had better service, he might have more goals. So the question is, will he?
Maybe I'm doing Solanke a disservice, right? How many goals did he get in his last season at Bournemouth? Was it 19?
Yeah, 19.
Something like that.
So
yeah,
maybe
like Thomas Frank wants to play direct, right? And every time that we try to play direct, we just don't have that dude that's right at the top centrally that's going to be able to hold it and lay it off and continue the attack moving forward. Every single time that happens, Richarlison gets put in the dirt. So as a direct result, we're essentially stuck on the wings.
Yeah.
And we can't play away. And we can't, unfortunately, right now, we can't play from the wing in. Right. That's the thing that at the very least, that's what Solanke gives you is the ability to be a far more direct through the center of the park, which is actually like, as Drew eloquently put it just a second ago, it frees up Kudus in more 1v1 situations off the half turn. Right. And so from that standpoint, I'm not necessarily worried about the final goal tally of a dude like Dominic Solanke because I think we're going to start getting goals from everywhere.
I think to have a successful season, we had a few either high-scoring games or losses under Ange. I think the way we are at the moment, we got to look at winning games, low-scoring games by the odd goal, and
sure.
keeping other teams out.
And that's
we're
already doing that.
Where a glut of goals is coming from, but that could change. But I don't see where a glut's going to come from. We've got a dysfunctional.
See, Mike thinks I want to say. Big up, Mike.
Yep, just let Brendan Johnson run through the channel.
Just let him run in the channel and cook. I saw that guy put Gvardiol in the in his rear view mirror. He can do it. I've seen him do it. He just needs to do it constantly, and you need to have the ball through the channel. But then also, you really do need to put 10 men in behind the ball, invite pressure, and win the ball back, and then trigger a really fast counter attack. Like that to me is the one dimension.
That's
the one dimension where Johnson cooks. What's that?
Yeah.
Are you referring to his Nottingham Forest days?
It might be
where he actually had Morgan Gibbs White. Playing him on
there might be a slight reference to his.
It was a good through ball by Bergvall that got him the third goal against Doncaster.
Really was. But then you have to remind yourself, Adrian, it was Doncaster.
Yeah, exactly.
You know I mean? Exactly. Can we play you every week?
And I didn't think we were that great against Doncaster.
Oh, we got fighting talk here in the chat.
Go on,
Steve. Let's be honest. Kulu's not that
special at all. Neither are you, Benny guy. Neither are you.
Neither are you.
Subjective.
The only difference is he can play football and you can't.
That's brilliant. Absolutely.
No audio. I do not.
Question to audio. We're going to tell you what. We're going to wrap this up in a couple of minutes because my throat's starting to actually get a little bit horrible, and I'm starting. You can tell it's starting to get a little bit raspy. Quick question, and then we'll go round because we haven't actually talked about just what the score prediction is tomorrow. So we'll do that as well. But can you ever see Frank converting Kulu into a 9? Will he be Dejan Kanasevsky?
Dejan Kanasevsky?
I don't think so, personally.
I don't think so either.
No.
I don't think so either.
No.
He's kind of at that age already where you don't want to start converting again into a new role.
It's been tried. It was tried though, wasn't it? It's been tried. And Cooley said himself, I don't like playing with my back to goal up there. He can hold the ball up and all that, but he's it's like it's the next step and a step
I get
after
what you're
that.
saying.
You know,
Yeah.
it's just not him.
What was his output last year? He had double digits in goals and
I
assists.
think he had
Didn't he?
about 12 goals.
Come
and
on, you guys.
Yeah.
Come
The-
on.
The season
Yeah,
before,
he does it quietly, but it's not good enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The season before he only got 5, but last season I think he got about 12 and about
Yeah.
go and check his stats. I think he got about 11 and 11 or something like that.
I'll tell you,
Vinny's complaining like a woman.
They were very good
Ginger-
stats for his position. Very good stats for goals
doing
and
it.
assists.
I'm doing
Last
it now.
season
Adrian.
in the Premier League, he was seven goals, 4 assists.
Mhm.
Oh, is
In
that
all comps, 10 goals, 8 assists.
Yeah.
That's
Really?
pretty
He's a
solid.
wide player.
Sell him. Rubbish.
How many games?
Rubbish.
How many games? 18 contributions in how many games? 40?
Is it really? Is it 20, 18 and 40? I suppose
sure.
that's one every other. I mean, Premier League proven, as Eugene would say. Big up, Eugene. You're out there somewhere. Spreading you.
He's what we like to call ready-made, right? Or oven ready.
He's ready-made. Ready-made.
Cooked.
50 games in all competitions. 50, 5-0.
He's cooked.
5-0.
Kulu played in 50 games last season.
Wow.
50. Okay, now.
Go and do Porro. I suppose the same. More.
He probably did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Kulu had like a full season's worth of minutes by January, I think, didn't he? 'Cause
He did. He did.
Absolutely flogged him like a horse.
He was left on an island for a good portion of last season.
He really was. Then he comes back, gets injured, comes back from the injury, breaks his kneecap. Poor fella. I mean, let's give the guy a break. All right, boys. What do you think of the scores tomorrow? We'll start with you up there. What are you thinking, Steve?
As much as I would love to see this team be on the front foot and put one in the first minute, until I actually see it, I won't believe it.
Last 3 games against Leeds, 4 goals.
Fantastic. The question is like, are we gonna put 4 past Leeds tomorrow away at Ellen Road in front of the Ellen Road faithful, the crazies that are Leeds fans tomorrow? I'm going to say it's going to be a 2-2 draw, and Leeds scores first, and then they score 2. They get their 2 in the first half because we're going to Keystone Cops it for 45 minutes, and before we actually have to play football, and we get a late draw.
Can't believe it.
By the way, I wish I can say like comfortably and go straight Dermatron and say like 5-0. But that's that is so very unrealistic. This is going to be a 2-2 draw, and it wouldn't surprise me if we don't equalize.
Oh, Jesus Christ. All right.
But I'm saying 2-2 draw.
2-2 draw. I was trying to mute you, but it's too late. Alan, what do you think?
I think it's going to be 1-2 to the Spurs.
1-2 to the Spurs. See, that's what we like. What about you?
I'm going 3-1 Spurs.
3-1 Spurs. All righty. 1-2, 2-2.
The only reason why we battered Burnley in the first one is because of the sleight of hand and they're just newly promoted. But that being said, Burnley, I think are going to get relegated, but I think Leeds and Sunderland stay up this year. They're the way that they built this team. I don't necessarily know we can break down Leeds.
We have an unbeaten away record. I think we got the best away record in the Premier League.
The one thing as well, I think
we drew at Brighton. Didn't we? We won at West Ham, won at Man City, drew at Brighton. We only lost the home game.
And also, I think David Clark, I don't know if he's still here, but he made a point earlier on. I think he said something along the lines of having 9 players out injured. Only 3 of
that's what he said. Back. Like 9. Yeah. Yep.
So I don't know. Might catch him on an off day. You never know.
Do you know who scores tomorrow?
Iceman going 3-0. Do I know who scores tomorrow?
Yeah. Do you know who scores Leeds' first goal tomorrow?
If you know, please tell me.
Leeds first goal.
It's gonna be a bloody American, isn't it?
That's right. That's right, Mr. Brendan Aronson.
Who?
Mr. Brendan Aronson.
Aronson. Oh, why are you?
With your 2 goals, Steve, you going for a brace by Richarlison then, or what?
No, my 2 goals are going to be Xavi gets his first, and then I'm gonna settle one on one Archie Gray.
Archie Gray gets one against the old enemy. All right, or against his old club. Not really the old enemy, but all right. Interesting. I'm gonna Dermo this up. Big up Dermo. I'm going 4-0.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I know. Absolute shocker. Romero's getting one. Do you know what? This is going to be my thing from now until the end of the season. I'm going Faz Radfar. Faz Radfar / Dermo on these.
Yeah.
I'm going 4-0. Romero gets a rom bomb, power header from a corner. One of the midfielders. Who should we have?
Polino's on a good scoring run.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Polini gets one. Polini gets another one. And who else?
Porro?
Nah, don't like him.
Kudos get his first goal. Simmons.
Yeah, I'll give Kudos. Kudos can have one.
Richie's in a rich scoring fame. I think he's got 4 now.
Yeah, it was put on a platter.
All right, I want to change it. I'm going to say 3-2 Spurs.
Oh, look, what's happening here?
No. And the winner comes from Kulusevski from the medical room.
Brilliant. I don't know if you can sub him on if he's in bed. Jesus. I tell you what. You know, I fancy somebody from out of the blue. I fancy
BDV.
Tell. I fancy Tell to get one. Come on,
Tell. No Brendan?
No, Brendan Johnson. Not Brendan.
Yeah, hey, by the way, do you think Brendan Johnson gets dropped from the match day squad tomorrow after the disaster that was Bodo Glimt?
Probably not. Because I think Thomas Frank really likes Brendan Johnson.
Because that was a disaster. That was a disaster.
I think he's getting fed up with him, to be honest with you.
Well, he might.
That was a disaster. That was a disaster.
As we're not scoring a couple of goals in his
what was Steve? What was it?
It was a disaster.
Yeah, I guess we got to see how hard he chews his gum. Tell how pissed off he is.
Right.
Yeah, Iceman is right. Richie can't finish his dinner.
Richie doesn't even start his dinner.
My 3-1. I'm going Romero. I'm going Kudus to score, and I'm going Simmons.
Nice.
Yeah, because I picked VDV to score in 3 straight, and of course he didn't score. So I think I got to jump off the Dutch center back trinket for at least 1 week, and now watch him score.
Mm-hmm.
Love Dutch centre backs. Although I tell you what, I got a bone to pick with you, Tottenham Hotspur shop, you bastards. Excuse me. Thank you. We are Spurs TV. Yeah. Do you know what? It is a pad. I'm never buying from them again. I'm just gonna have to get it from somewhere else. You try and put money in. Do you know what I mean? You try and do your bit. I bought the VDV shirt. The lettering has already started to peel off, and I've had shirts. I've got a Modric shirt, and the lettering and the numbering immaculate. Ladies and gentlemen, Drew knows how to look after shit. So when the 7 starts peeling off your new VDV shirt, you think to yourself, "Hang on a minute, have a word, shall we? Have a word."
Complain.
So I get on the. I have got on the old. I got on the old keyboard. It was this high while I was doing it as well. And Sue got back to me. Big up Sue.
Big up Sue.
And then she didn't get back to me for 5 or 6
days.
I'm
about to Sue. If you don't sort this out.
Sue then didn't get back to me. And then all of a sudden, Karen gets back to me. And Karen apologizes on Sue's behalf because Sue apparently is dumber than a box of rocks. And didn't figure out that I was an international customer. What? So the USA fucking address didn't give that away, Sue. Yeah. So anyway, I've had to pay $50 to send it back to get the lettering corrected to have it sent back to me. I'll tell you what, this fucking shirt is going to cost me an arm and a fucking leg. So
Yeah.
VDV, if you're out there, I
You
hope
can't
you're
wear it as
pleased with
shorts,
yourself.
Drew.
So did Sue? By the way, did Sue
Yeah.
figure that? Did Sue figure that Kansas City, Missouri, was in the Midlands or something like that? Did they think that it was like right outside of Liverpool or something like that?
I feel like Sue's an AI agent or a bot sent
Yeah.
to ruin my fucking
Uh-huh.
day, is what I think.
That would
Anyway,
be clever, though.
so until I
Drew,
get
put it in
until
for
I get
Drew,
the
right?
until I get the shirt back, I can no longer go full kit on a Saturday. Which, because I know
Well, just take,
you were all thinking to
but
you were all
just,
thinking to
take
yourself,
the,
yeah, I go full kit.
just
So no-
take the yellow daddy off the wall right there, and just put
Drew,
the
no
Erickson back up on
Sue
the wall
marriage
of your full
proposal
kit.
then, no?
Not the same, is it? Do what?
No Sue marriage proposals. That's out the window now, the wedding, yeah?
Sue, I can't stand her. Can't stand the woman. So
What'd she look like?
bloody
What does she look
customer
like?
service sucks. She looks
What
like
did,
an AI agent. I've had enough.
Mm.
I suppose I could get a Sharpie and just put a name on the back of one of them ones, couldn't I?
Yeah,
Anyway.
just or break out the Erickson or the
Yeah, so
Bertrangen.
then put your own lettering on.
I tell you what, Steve, I wish the Ericsson one fit me. I wish it fit me. I've put on a couple of pounds since Ericsson's fucking scored for last for this club. Anyway, we've rattled on for almost 2 hours. Thank you very much to the panel, as always. Thank you very much to the chat and everybody participating. Screw Sue once again. Not really. I mean, she's probably a lovely little old lady. I feel terrible for her that she doesn't know where the USA is. Let's do this real quick. I got a couple of banners here. Mr. Steve, Stateside Footy 27 down here. What you got going on this weekend,
Stateside Footy, guys, does good content. He's always on.
Yeah,
he's not.
Yeah,
When he's on his show, he's on ours. Right? So he's on 24/7 virtually.
I wouldn't say 24/7, but I wouldn't even say pretty close to that. But I'm on enough, right? My mug is over the internet enough. Well, in an hour we have the pre-match build-up over on Stateside Footy as we talk it out about this upcoming match versus Leeds, and I have one Mr. Rakdos Madness on the channel tonight
look at that.
we
know when we're not wanted, Drew.
to sleuth this one out. And you guys will welcome on at any point, man. All you have to do is just say, "Hey, I want to come on," and you guys are on. You guys got it like that. But yeah, we're gonna sleuth this one out and figure out if before the international break we can wrong some of the rights of former matches before the international break, and whether or not some of these guys actually fit the style of play of how Thomas Frank wants to play. Because over the course of the last couple of weeks, that thought has crossed my mind, whether or not the players that are at his disposal don't necessarily match up to the actual tactical vision of one Thomas Frank. So we'll be talking a little bit about that. And then, of course, we have the Hotspur watch along tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m. Eastern time as our boys take on One Leeds United. And then, of course, it's the international break, and that means my content flips over to U.S. men's national team as we get set for friendlies against Ecuador and the mighty Australia before the Premier League ramps up yet again. So we have a lot of good content coming up on Stateside Footy, especially for those Tottenham Hotspur fans and, of course, the U.S. men's national team fans.
Awesome. Good to hear. Good to hear.
Yeah.
Alan?
Yes.
Team Tottenham go.
Team Tottenham go. Yes. I do my match reaction. I will be doing when I get because I'll be up at 4:30 in the morning watching the game. And I will do my match reaction afterwards. Probably with a strong cup of coffee. And yeah, so
we're actually getting some content in Team Tottenham go tomorrow, because it's been Team Tottenham gone for a hot minute.
This is the third game I'll have. I didn't do the Champions League because I could have just put the Wolves reaction right back in. It basically was the same reaction. But yeah.
4:30 should be no problem because most Spurs fans have sleep problems anyway. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. We're all too stressed to sleep.
Very true.
So yes, I will have a match reaction coming after the game, and hopefully we win.
Awesome. And then Adrian, you back on Sunday with
Ian,
I'll
be on with Ian and probably Tom and Callum and Tom, Callum and Jess from the Leeds group. So
Sweet.
I'm sure it'll be a cool show. This has been very good tonight, actually. I thoroughly enjoyed it. But
It's been fun.
It's been excellent.
Yeah.
Just like to say to the 75 of you that are viewing us on various platforms, if you like our content, please subscribe to the channel. The little red button in the bottom right-hand corner. We do the memberships cheap, $1.99 a month if you're interested. So there's those as well. Like I say, you can find us every Tuesday or Wednesday because of the Champions League. Normally it's Tuesday, but if we're playing on Tuesdays, we'll be doing a show on the Wednesdays. Fridays, Drew hosts and Ian hosts on Sundays. So you'll find us. We post the channel out in the comment everywhere on Facebook, on our Facebook channel, blah blah, and yada yada with all that. Big thanks to everyone in the chat. Big thanks for your comments and questions. Big up to everyone who watches on playback. And with that, back to you, Drew.
Nice one. Big up, lads. Thank you very much. Big thanks to everybody in the chat, as just to reiterate what Adrian said. And Iceman, I'm sure Adrian will chat to you again about getting you on a show at some point.
We'll sort something out. Yeah, we'll get you on.
Yeah, for sure. Nice one. All right, boys. I got to run, so I'll play the outro, and I'll see you guys next week. Take it easy, lads. Enjoy the game. Come on, you Spurs.
Another outro Drew probably won't like, but it